Behind me is the room known as Mary's room at the Dandy House. It's also known as the heart of the house for a lot of different reasons. I just received about 15 questions about the house after I posted a couple of things on Facebook, suggestions for the title of my second book. Have you ever experienced anything? And of course, the the questions come in about the house. Everything that happened during the Dandy stay from 1970 to 1975, everything that happened there and the information given to Clara and her family of what might be the causes was done by Alex Tanis. Alex came into the house in 1973 after giving a lecture at St. Bonaventure University on the paranormal. Father Alphonsus Trabold asked him if he would possibly come up that night and talk to the family, see the house, see what he felt. Alex arrived after the lecture 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock or so, 9:30, and walked through the house. He walked through each room, felt what he did as a psychic, and gave the family his impressions of what he thought was causing the paranormal activity. He sent 7 different spirits, and it was odd because at the time, I think that was the equal number to how many different spirits were seen on the house by not just the Dandies, but by friends and family and the loos, who constantly drove the Dandy family crazy coming up to the house. Alex and Father Al and an NYU team of college students came to the house in 1974 to do a house cleansing. At that time, Alex reassured Clara that he felt that the house at one time had been an inn, or could have been an inn. And the owners robbed people and killed them and disposed of their bodies in the crawl space. This is Alex's impressions. Further research doesn't prove any of this. There is no proof it was ever an inn. He said there was a stagecoach run which ran up to the house. Now, up until about 3 years ago, there was never any proof of that. Until John O'Brien, the husband of one of the McNahan sisters, asked where the road was that was behind the house that was the stagecoach run. Now that's odd. Alex Tanis saw this, envisioned this, psychically deduced this by visiting the house in 1974 and 73, so the same thing in 73 too, that he felt there was a way station close by. A basement to a building was found at the leading edge of McNahan Road, but from further investigation, that was deemed to be, excuse my throat, that was deemed to be part of the Burlingame farm from the late 1800s and through the 1900s. Clara's book and my first book were all based on what Alex felt, besides the fact of what we all saw and experienced there. But the stagecoach, the hanging tree, the way station, all of this was what Alex felt. The rest of the story in Clara's book and my book, both are what we experienced firsthand. Since the Dandies left, I only experienced, I think, 2 or 3 times in the thousands of times I've been to the property, the same type of paranormal activity I did when they lived there. There was other activity that is different from what the Dandies experienced. Where that comes from, I don't know. What causes that, I don't know. Nobody does. Nobody ever will, I don't think. There are no experts in this field as far as I'm concerned. I'm not an investigator, except at the house. But I don't go to investigate, I go to experience. We do talk at times to anything that might be here. We generally just sit inside. It's the same people, always the same people. Tina Kozlowski, Nick Kozlowski, and Angel Lysette. We all went to the house nearly every day for a long time, and we watched over the house for an entire summer, from about 9 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m. until 4 in the morning, stopping trespassers and looters and those who vandalized the house. The house is whatever it is. It is troubled by what? I don't know. Nobody knows. There's too much speculation, as there always seems to be in the paranormal field. I know for a fact because when I used to take people to the house, I don't do that anymore. Not unless Dan asked me to accompany a group to give them some information about the Dandy family or what I experienced at the house. But as far as taking people, I don't do it anymore without Dan's permission. And it's rare that I go up there with anybody else except the 4 of us. When I took people up, I always tested their integrity. And I would tell them afterwards. It's something that I feel needs to be done in the paranormal community. Because so often you'll hear somebody say, "Did you see that?" Everybody in the room, with maybe the exclusion of 2 or 3, saw it. What did they see? Who knows? But I'll say sometimes, "Did you hear that knock?" 3 people say, "Yes, I didn't hear a knock." So the integrity of some investigators, or just those looking for evidence, is not always true. I've been to a couple other locations that are supposedly haunted and have experienced something in just one of them, in Andover, New York. But this house, the room depicted behind me, has got problems. I'm a big skeptic, very big skeptic. Even what has happened to me here, I'm still skeptical. I'm not doubting myself. I'm not saying it's my own apprehension or my imagination. I don't have an imagination for this stuff. Excuse me, I've had the ultimate, I would say, an ultimate experience in this house, on the property, not inside. That kept me away for a long time. And there's only a handful of people, besides the witnesses that were there, who are privy to this information. But everybody will be when my second book comes out. And I'm not proud to even admit something happened to me paranormal-wise, because even I today, 6 years later, 6 or 7, 6 I would say, I think it's 6 years later, yeah. 6 years later, still doubt that it happened. It's just, there's no doubting. There's no doubting what happened. It happened. How, I don't know. Why? That's even a bigger question. Maybe because I was taunting. Maybe because I was being quite rude to the property and to the house. Saying stupid things, which, right there is asinine to me. Why would you talk to a house? But there's something there, and I don't know what, but it's not what was there when the Dandy family lived there. I would often tell Clara Miller, Clara Dandy, I would often tell her I always thought that her mid-aged daughter, Laura, had a great connection to the house. That she might even be part of the reasons why things were happening. I'll do what a lot of people do. Experts say that poltergeist activity generally happens around a child of the age of puberty. A lot of stuff happened when Laura was there, and a lot of stuff happened when Laura was visiting her grandparents in Buffalo. But I think a lot of the heightened stuff was happening because of Laura's connection. Just my own personal opinion. Certainly no disrespect, because I love that little girl. She was my favorite of the family when it was coming time to just sit around and talking. She was just a big bright light for me. That's where the name of my book came from, They're Here. Because as I walked out the door with her father the first visit to the house, she looked at me from the kitchen sink and said, they're here too, don't you? And she said it kind of like that too. They're here too, don't you? Because I did feel things in the house, and I have felt things all my life, but that doesn't make me psychic. It doesn't even make me empathic, as the word is used. It makes me sensitive, I guess, to things, to impulses, electrical activity, whatever the hell causes paranormal activity to happen. But as I said, I'm a skeptic. But what happened to me 6 years ago, even though I still say I'm a skeptic, proves that something really is screwed up around us that we don't understand. And no expert, oh my God. I'm sorry when people label themselves as experts, because there are few experts in the paranormal field who could really be labeled as an expert. Alex Tannis was an expert. Dr. Osis was an expert. There are a few and far between. These people on TV are not experts. They go to several places and they have things happen, or purportedly have things happen. I don't believe half of them. It's like any other kind of entertainment. There's people that spend millions and millions of dollars on the WWE, and my God, people, it's fake. It's fake. It's fake. They do get hurt. They even die. How many wrestlers have died in the ring? At the mishap of either a medical condition or maybe even a throw or a move that was done wrong, or a stunt when they come down from the ceiling. But there are no experts in the paranormal field these days that I know of, and I've studied it a lot. But the people on TV that do shows, they're not experts. They're entertainers. They're no more than Jerry Lewis or Frank Sinatra. They're there to make us entertained. They don't entertain me. Few of them do. And I don't believe probably 75% of what is seen on TV as paranormal to be just that. The Dandy House, which I named it in 1973 because we went there every day for a year and a half, my friend Jim and I. It is also known as the Hinsdale house, owned by Dan Class. His name is fitting because he is a class act. He has done more for the paranormal community than a lot of people I know who is in the community. And Dan really takes care of the house and uses it for paranormal research. He's a great guy. He's got a really haunted location. By what, I don't know. But I don't think anybody will ever know the answer to that. As I said, I've been to the house thousands of times. I don't know what the hell's going on in this place. You know, I look at Mary's room, and I sat on that bed. That's Angel's bed, by the way. That's Angel Lysette's bed. They donated that to the house a long time ago. I sat on that bed by myself lots of times, and nothing happened. And there are other times when I walked up the stairs to go into that room, and I turned right the hell around and went back downstairs and wanted to leave. Because I know when there's something negative, that's a good word, as good as any, I guess, something negative, something bad, something evil, something I don't want to face at that time. There are times when I'll drive up to the house and I don't want to open the door. Most times I do. I unlock the padlocks, open the gate, go inside, turn the lights on, and experience nothing or something really, really, I won't say scary, because I don't know if that's the right word. To some people, they would be crapping their pants. Intriguing, very confusing at times. The house has got a lot of problems. The area, the property, the land around it. But I don't know what, and nobody does. Hopefully, in years to come, somebody will be able to come up with the right answers as to what causes this. They have all kinds of different meters on the market now that are used to sense a spirit. Well, I've researched a lot of this, and I still haven't come up with the actual terminology or the science behind what makes that meter work. The gimmick. I'm sorry. Most times it's a gimmick. But I've seen them work. You know, I've seen them work. Let me say this when I say it's a gimmick. Not every time a K2 meter goes off means a ghost is standing next to you. Because the electromagnetic power of the earth itself is going to make that thing go off erratically too, not just all the time. Because right down the road on Promised Land Road, if you go up Burnt Hollow, you can stand up there with a K2 meter and it'll be in the red the whole length of that road. And 2 blocks down the road, there's nothing. But I've seen K2 meters go off with questions. Right when you ask them. Over and over and over again. So that's why I say they're gimmicks. And I say that in a sense because every time a meter goes off, the people that are using it know it's a ghost. Bullshit, it's not. It's not a ghost all the time. It's not a spirit, it's not an energy. It's an energy, but it doesn't necessarily pertain to a deceased person. That's why I call them gimmicks, because they're not infallible. They fail. So I don't think anybody's going to really come up with something that will pick up a spirit and know it's a spirit. I don't want to talk about ghost boxes because you'll all be pissed at me. So I just wanted to base this on where where the information that Claire and I both got, and I've said this before on videos, and I've said it at lectures, and I've said it at speaking engagements. We got what we thought was the problems that were what was causing the problems at the house from Alex, because he was a world-renowned psychic and he was proven to be extremely gifted scientifically, totally 100% scientifically, not by holding a bunch of cards behind a screen and getting 3 out of 6 right. That doesn't prove anything. It just proves luck. There is one video, I do believe, on YouTube where Alex is going through a pretty strong gambit of tests to show his ability. And when I first met the man, he shook my hand, and not the first thing out of his mouth, but I think it was the third or fourth sentence. He looked me in the eye with his deep set, dark, alluring eyes. He said April 14th. How the hell would he know my birthday? Nobody in the family, nobody in the Dandy house knew my birthday. I only knew him at that time for a year, just over a year, well, a year and a half. A year, no, not even a year. When Alex first came up, I didn't even know him a year yet. But he shook my hand, and he thanked, nice to meet you, and what else did he say? I'm trying to think exactly what he said to me when we met. Nice to meet you. Father Ellis told me something about you. Something else he said, which I think he wasn't really talking to me. He said something to someone in the room. And then he looked at me and said, April 14th. And I was smart enough, even at 22, to say, what about it? He gave me a smirk. He knew that I knew I was being coy. So this is just a little ditty to add on to my 10-part piece of the Dandy House and my take on a lot of things. I don't mean to be rude to other people who investigate. I'm sorry that I come across that way. But some of the things, I sit and listen to some really, really, really way out there far-fetched stories. When, just one example, and this is why I'm very, very careful in who I would deal with or talk to. But there was an investigator, a group at the house about 5 years. About 5. Well, it was when Bill Conley. There's a phony. I'll say it loud again. He's a phony. Bill Conley of the Confam family, Confam Productions. What a joker he is. When he was trying to buy the house, at the time that I got permission for them to do a docu movie up there, which never panned out, even though it was all filmed, everything was done, but it never went to post-production because Bill Conley is a phony. He did live in Alberta, or in Edmonton, Canada, and he had a TV show and all that, and he's just a quack. But when he was there was a group, when he was trying to buy the house and trying to take over, a group was up there, and the lead investigator come up to me. He told me he had a full-blown conversation with a ghost in the driveway. A ghost whispered in his ear, go in the house, go in the house, speak with the spirits, they'll tell you what you're looking for. That's a lot for a spirit to say. Go in the house, speak to the spirits, they'll tell you what you're looking for. Think about that for a minute. Anyhow, I just wanted to make a little video. because I am finishing up my second book on the house. And when I came to do editing the part about what happened to me 6 years ago, I wanted to take it out because people are going to think I'm nuts. But I don't care, you know. I don't care. People think I'm nuts anyhow, so it doesn't matter. But that was a very disturbing evening. It shocked everybody that was there. It scared the hell out of everybody, especially me, who was there. And there was 5, 6 of us. 6 of us there that night, and all 5 of them witnessed what happened. I don't know how it could have happened, but you can read about it, and those who already know it, you can tell who you want. So, anyhow, with that, I'll say see ya, and I hope that you don't think I'm too crazy about what I've talked about. And I hope no investigators or people on TV are upset with me, but I call them as I see them. I call them as I believe. Some of the investigators on TV are doing a good thing. They're trying to find answers, but sometimes they go overboard, and we all know that, because if they go to a location and nothing's happening, who the hell wants to watch that on television, right? See ya.